The unseen cost, RV and vehicle camping restrictions in the land of the free. The United States, often lauded as the land of the free, is grappling with a quiet but pervasive crisis that exposes a stark contradiction in its foundational ideals. Across the nation, states are increasingly implementing restrictions on RVing and vehicle camping, a trend frequently presented as a necessary measure for public safety or environmental protection. Yet, beneath this veneer of public good lies a tragic irony. These restrictions disproportionately impact the working class and those struggling with poverty, a problem often exacerbated, rather than alleviated, by the very policies of the state. The rise in vehicle dwelling is not a lifestyle choice for many, it is a forced adaptation to an economic reality. As housing costs skyrocket and wages stagnate, more and more working individuals and families find themselves priced out of traditional homes. For these honest, hardworking citizens, RVs, vans, or even cars become their last resort for shelter. Too many. They are not seeking a vacation, they are seeking survival. To then impose bans, limit parking, or demand exorbitant fees for designated camping areas is to punish individuals for the very economic precarity that has been, in part, manufactured by systemic issues. Consider Maria, a single mother working 2 jobs to support her children. Despite her tireless efforts, the rising rent in her city made it impossible to keep their small apartment. With no other options, she purchased an old van, hoping to provide a stable, if unconventional, roof over her kids' heads. For months, they navigated a precarious existence, parking in quiet neighborhoods and moving frequently to avoid detection. But then, new city ordinances made overnight parking illegal for oversized vehicles, forcing Maria to drive miles out of her way each night, often sacrificing precious sleep just to find a spot where they wouldn't be ticketed or towed. Her story echoes that of countless others, like David, a retired veteran whose modest pension no longer covers the cost of a fixed address. He found solace and community among other RV dwellers, only to see public lands and once accessible parking areas slowly close off, leaving him with fewer and fewer places to legally rest his head. These are not statistics, they are lives upended, dreams deferred, and dignity eroded by policies that fail to acknowledge the human cost. The narrative often pushed by authorities suggests that these restrictions are a correct way to handle a serious and manufactured problem. The problem, in this context, is frequently identified as poverty itself, or the visible manifestations of homelessness. However, this perspective fundamentally misdiagnoses the root cause. Poverty is not an inherent flaw in the individual, it is a complex societal issue influenced by a myriad of factors, chief among them, the escalating burden of taxation and fees. The numbers paint a stark picture. Vehicular homelessness is a rapidly growing crisis. In Los Angeles County, for instance, over 40% of the unsheltered homeless population, some 14,000 people in 2019, rely on vehicles for shelter, a figure that increased by 55% from 2016 to 2020. Similarly, Seattle saw a staggering 2,858% rise in vehicular homelessness over 2 decades, with vehicle dwellers comprising 53% of its unsheltered population by 2018. Nationally, almost 40%, 226,080, of unsheltered individuals and families were sleeping in vehicles in January 2020, marking a 29% increase since 2014. This surge directly correlates with an escalating affordable housing crisis. Median rents across the U.S. are approximately 35% higher today than before the pandemic, with an average annual rent increase of 18% between Q1 2021 and Q1 2022 alone. State representatives, tasked with safeguarding the well-being of their constituents, often appear oblivious to the immense financial strain placed upon the working class. Income taxes, property taxes, sales taxes, fuel taxes, registration fees, licensing fees, utility surcharges, the list of deductions and mandatory payments is seemingly endless. Each year, a significant portion of a working family's hard-earned income is siphoned off before it can even be used to meet basic needs. For instance, the lowest 20% income group, earning less than $27,100, pays an average of 17.1% of their income in total taxes, federal, state, and local. This figure rises to 22.2% for the second 20% income group, $27,100 to $51,500, and 26.4% for the middle 20%, $51,500 to $86,800. This relentless erosion of purchasing power pushes families deeper into financial insecurity, making stable housing an unattainable dream for many. This relentless erosion of purchasing power pushes families deeper into financial insecurity, making stable housing an unattainable dream for many. It is a profound betrayal of trust when the very people who are struggling to stay afloat due to these economic pressures are then penalized for their attempts to cope. The expectation that working families, already burdened by taxes, should be able to afford a fancy RV or expensive RV parks reveals a deep disconnect between legislators and the lived realities of their constituents. This is not merely an oversight, it is a failure of representation. If state representatives do not possess a clear understanding of how much a working family loses to taxes and fees, then their capacity to truly represent the interests and alleviate the suffering of the working class is severely compromised. The land of the free should not be a place where the most vulnerable are pushed further to the margins, their attempts at self-preservation criminalized. Instead of restricting access to basic shelter, even if unconventional, policymakers should be addressing the root causes of economic hardship. This means a critical reevaluation of tax policies, a commitment to living wages, and an investment in affordable housing solutions, rather than punitive measures that only serve to deepen the despair of those already struggling. The sad fact is that these restrictions are not a solution to poverty, they are a symptom of a system that is failing its most fundamental promise to its people. To truly uphold the ideals of liberty and justice, we must advocate for policies that support, rather than penalize, our working-class citizens. This includes pushing for progressive tax reforms that ease the burden on low- and middle-income families, advocating for increased funding for affordable housing initiatives, and establishing safe, accessible, and dignified parking and camping options for vehicle dwellers. Engage with your local representatives, support organizations working on housing advocacy, and raise awareness within your communities. By uniting our voices, we can demand a future where the land of the free truly means freedom from financial exploitation and freedom from the fear of homelessness for all.
Please tell me what you think and how you feel about this issue. Analyze it, brainstorm it, debate it, and if you like it, please share it. Thank you for watching. I truly and highly appreciate you, and God bless you.